State Cigar Studio in Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome to the Spare Notes series with your hosts, Matt Tabacco and William Cooper.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Spare Notes series. My name is Matt Tabacco from SmokingTobacco.com, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Mr. William Cooper, live from Indian Trend, North Carolina. I'm here in the Drew Estate Cigar Studios in Boston, Massachusetts, and we are here yet again on another Saturday night. It's been a long day for Coop and I. We've had a lot of cigar-related things to attend to. Coop, you do multiple shows. You got KMA, you got Jukebox. We had a press conference we had to get to, and we have this show. So it's Saturday is on a spare notes day. Saturday is a long day.
Yeah, and of course I had a Phillies game in the middle of all that, a series clinching game. So it was I've been going at it since, and then I've really been going at it since about 8 o'clock this morning. But it's worth it. It's a good day. It's a good day.
Yeah, I have to take a moment and just let you know. I want to congratulate your Phillies for making it to the NLCS. It's not an easy thing to do. I know how you feel about your Phillies. So congratulations. I've said it on social media, and I know what your response is, but for those who don't know, I said, if the Phillies will win a World Series this year, will you shut up about Gabe Kapler? And you said, nope, I'm cranking up the heat if they win the World Series. So now I'm like, I want them to win for you, but now you're also making me feel like I should root against the Phillies because I don't want to hear even more Gabe Kapler talk. So I don't really know how to feel about the Phillies team now because of you. Not because of anybody else, because of you. Not even because of Gabe, because of you.
Well, let's put Gabe. Gabe's gone. Gabe's got his own set of problems right now to deal with. And we got Rob Thompson. We got a real skipper in Rob Thompson. This guy is a born leader, born to manage. I think he's done an amazing job. This team keys off him. The leadership of the team's bought into him, and the young players have bought into him. So, I think in my opinion, he should be the manager of the year. But probably he lost that manager of the year because of the slump in September. I probably hurt him. So, I'm excited. I mean, it's just worry about Kapler another time. Like that's Rob Rasmussen, who's a San Francisco Giants fan's problem, not mine. He's got to deal with that idiot, not me.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I was before the show started. I was keeping track. And I don't know if you know the outcome, but last I looked, the Astros-Mariners game was in the 12th inning. It was still scoreless. Do we have a winner of that game yet?
I don't think we. Let me see. Not yet. This is in the middle of 14th inning. I have it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
We got 2 games going.
and the Yankees are trying to hang in there against the Cleveland Guardians. So give the Yankees some due here. This is they go down 2-1. It's going to be ugly in New York. I can tell you that.
Listen, I know you're from New York. I know you live in the Carolinas now, so it really means nothing to you. But for the rest of us who live in Massachusetts, in the People's Republic of Massachusetts, or otherwise in any great state of the Union of the New England territories, I could give it 2 shits if they make it. I want the Guardians to win this. I hope that the Yankees get blown out in their elimination game. So I don't give them any due. I don't care. I hope they lose. And you know what? I watched your show with Bear the other night, and I'd like to weigh in on the Alex Rodriguez chat, if I may. I'm with Bear.
Yeah.
I'm taking Bear's side. Bear's a fellow Red Sox brother, so he gets my love and support. I'm going to stand right by him and say A-Rod is a douchebag. I don't care. He doesn't deserve any praise. No,
he did a fine job. He did a great job, announcing that series. How can you say he was spot on with his analysis? He was fair. He was fair, and I don't say it doesn't mean I like him. That doesn't mean I like him. He did his job. The guy did his job better than some of these other yahoos like Katie Nolan, who was awful in the booth. She set women announcers back 20 years. She was so bad as a baseball announcer, and there's some really good female baseball announcers. I'm not trying. She's not one of them. So I mean. A-Rod did his job. Was he Tim McCarver? No, but he did his job. He was fine. But you guys don't like him. That you have to separate liking and not liking from the guy doing his job. He did his job.
Yeah, all right. I'll give him that he did his job, but I mean, at the end of
I
the
mean,
day,
Big Poppy.
he wore the pinstripes in the Bronx. I mean,
Does Big
that weighs it for me and Bear.
does Big Poppy add anything to the post game show but laugh? Ha ha! Big Poppy. He just laughs. He doesn't add any analysis.
Listen.
I love Big Poppy.
Be
but
careful.
I'm being honest here.
Be careful.
Right.
The A-Rod is one thing, but David Ortiz.
I like Big Poppy.
He's a religious saint in this city. Be careful what you say.
But he doesn't. What does he add to the post game show?
Doesn't matter. He's a religious saint.
He did one good thing. You know what he did? He put his cigars on TV that time and smoked them. I like what he did that time.
Yeah. See, told you.
Yeah, I do like that. Yeah, Big Poppy did his job.
Come down to Lansdowne Street, go to one of the bars and say that shit. Be talking. Wow, does David Ortiz? They'll carry you out the front door. Careful what you say, Coop. Don't talk about don't talk about Poppy like that. Don't talk about Poppy like that.
Do you know? I'll say something. And seriously, when I went to Stockholm, a few years ago, I don't think I knew you then. I was through downtown Stockholm, and there was this Boston pub dedicated to the city of Boston, and it had all Boston sports memorabilia, and it was like literally a piece of Boston in the middle of Stockholm. I thought it was the coolest thing, and I went in there. It was a fun place, actually.
Yeah, I think I've heard you talk about that before on one of your shows. It sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard you talk about that. I don't know about it.
Yeah,
but
I probably have
because
I remember. I think when I came back, I talked about it.
But yeah, no, I don't know about that. I'll have to check that out.
I know I sent Terrence Riley the picture from Stockholm. I'm like, Terrence, you got to see this place. I mean, this is unbelievable. It's in the middle of Stockholm, which is all Swedish stuff, and then this is a Boston sports bar. It was.
So in the comments, I just want to highlight. So Jay is with us. Jay told me earlier he didn't know if he was going to make it because he had to work at the shop. He said, "I'm working in my lounge, and I'm wondering if I'll be able to hear anything beyond." Actually, I can't read that because I said that I wouldn't address certain things tonight. So I'm gonna actually get Jay. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to skip the rest of that comment. Coop only got halfway through D due to Luciano and the Phillies. The Braves demolished the Mets at season's end and couldn't handle the Phillies. Let's see. Jay Davis says A-Rod is a better announcer than he was as a teammate. That's definitely true. I'll at least admit to that, but doesn't mean I have to like him. Dan Thompson, spare notes and MLB Senate coverage. Hey, it's October. It's October. The hunt for Red October, right, Coop? Isn't that your rally cry?
It's Red October this month. And this has been such a great season. It doesn't matter at this point to me. We weren't going to get this far. It's house money. I don't think we beat the Padres or the Dodgers. I mean, I know I keep saying that, but I'm being realistic here. We won two. Some managers can't even win a round of the playoffs. We won two. So, I mean, I'm very happy with this team. I hope they can build on it for the future.
Yeah, I mean, they got a good team. They got a good team, and honestly, it'll be exciting. I don't want to see the Yankees win anything. I don't want to see LA win anything. Cleveland's due. I mean, it's been 79 years now, I think, for them. It was the 40s last time they got one.
Yeah, it's like the 40s. Yeah.
They now have the longest one because Red Sox snapped theirs, the Cubbies beat theirs, the White Sox beat theirs. I think Cleveland has the longest dry spell now.
I want to say Cleveland, and then it's I think
Milwaukee.
No, not the No, it's not Milwaukee. It maybe Texas or something like that. I think they're second longest. But someone can go do that research question.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But there's like I said, there's some good teams left, and it'll be exciting to see how it shakes down. But the Phillies are going to the next round. They're one round away from the big show. So let's see how it all shakes out.
Yep. Couple comments on that. You may notice the facial hair, which was originally grown out because of my oral surgery.
Oh, yes.
But I've not shaved it, and I announced on KMA this morning that it will stay on for as long as the Phillies are in the playoffs. I'm not gonna mess with karma at this point.
Now I hope they
So,
go 7 games in the World Series because I think it's a good
It
look
will
for
be
you.
trimmed, but it won't be removed until the World Series. So I'll have to figure out for my non-cigar life how I'm going to deal with that, but I'll deal with it. But yeah, it is staying on.
Let me
So
ask you a
that's
question. So if the Phillies win a World Series this year, is there going to be a big celebration on the Coop show, whether it's prime time or special edition? Is there going to be like a Phillies victory show? Like you're going to wear all the stuff and you guys just going to do baseball, no cigar? Like what's the
probably we'll do something.
what's the
I still-
celebration cigar if the Phillies win?
Well,
That's what I want to know.
We haven't won it, but we haven't won anything. I'm not thinking that far ahead.
Okay.
I
all right.
can't. No, but the other thing is, if you notice, I'm not wearing my Phillies jersey or my cap because another thing that I did was when they went on the winning streak in June, I stopped wearing the jersey and the hat because I felt I was jinxing them every time I wore it. I've not put that jersey. I put the Matt Tabacco one you gave me on, right? But I'm talking my Bryce Harper jersey and my cap have been sitting there, and they will not be put on because they've been good ever since I stopped wearing it. So. I just stick with the karma and what's rolling and what works. So I am a little. I got this from my dad. I'm a little funny and superstitious about some of this stuff. So so I tend to stick what works.
Don't apologize when it comes to professional sports. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to do what you got to do. You know.
Listen. We are in an NLCS. If you told me that we were going to be in the National League Championship Series on Memorial Day, I would have laughed at you. If you told me this 2 weeks ago, I would have laughed at you as well. When we got into there's no way I would have ever thought this. This has been a magical run for us this year. I don't know. Next year could be a letdown. Look at the Braves. So, I'm just going to enjoy it right now.
I'll be honest with you. If you told me last year that the Red Sox would be in an ALCS, I would not believe you either.
I mean, the playoffs are funny. The weird stuff happens in the playoffs sometimes, and the Braves just their bats shut down in this series. There's no way around it. They went into a slump at the worst time. The Mets, the same thing happened. I mean, look at this. Look at those teams. The Braves and the Mets dominate that division, and we're the ones in the NLCS. It's just baseball's crazy. It's crazy. It's a crazy sport when it comes, and the playoffs make it really now.
Oh, Coop, I think you froze there. Oh no, you're back. You're good.
Okay.
Which funny. You brought up you called it the Matt Tabacco jersey. It's not my jersey, but
the one you gave me.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I don't know if anyone knows. The story behind the jersey, so that's kind of a new thing here at Smoking Tobacco now for certain people. I guess this is a thing now. We've presented commemorative jerseys to folks as a thank you for certain things.
I was honored to get one, yeah.
And you got one of the first ones. There are only 2 in existence. The other one belongs to Jay Davis, and what we've decided is that we made a jersey designed after your favorite team, but it would have a relevance to what you are. So Jay says Blue Smoke on his, but it's a Cubs-style jersey, and it has his name on the back. Yours is a Phillies-style jersey, and it says Cigar Coop on the front, and then it says Cooper on the back. So who knows? This might be a thing that we continue to do, and more jerseys get made and handed out. But you have to earn it though. It's like the Abe coin or the Coop coin. You got to earn it though. You got to earn it. You got to do something.
So what if Jose Blanco earns one? What do you do in that case?
We have it made out of gold thread. I have white glove service deliver it to him. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but he's a Yankee. He's a Yankees fan. He's a Yankees fan.
For Jose, look, there's not a lot of people in this world that would receive anything Yankee related from me. Jose is one of those exceptions. I
agree. We got
He's a very good friend of mine and yours, and for him, oh yeah, absolutely.
You know something, Coop? The Yankees are still pretty good this year.
Oh, Coop, the Yankees, don't forget that's America's team. A lot of championships, the Steinbrenner organization,
But Carlito's still with that Boston Red Sox. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I know. Oh man. So no, Jay's here. Jay, I lived at 536 West Addison for 4 years. Wrigley is 1060 West Addison. Big Cub fan. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, Jay is a big Cubs fan, which is great. I was happy for them when they finally broke their drought a couple years ago. That was huge. 2016. And you know what? They deserved it. They deserved it. I was very happy for them to win that World Series.
Oh, absolutely.
I was very happy. When they won that, I said, this is a team, because you know why? Because I knew the struggle. It was 86 years for us. It was 90, I think it was 95 for the White Sox when they got theirs the year after we did in 2005. When the Cubs got theirs, I was happy for them. And honestly, yeah, I mean, outside of, it would be cool to see the Phillies win for you. Cleveland, they got a nice long one too. It'd be nice to see them snap that. Original teams have been around a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree, for sure. Like I said, when the Phillies won it in '80, that was really new territory, for all practical purposes. We never won a World Series, so we won it in 1980, and then I had to wait 28 years, for another one. So.
You know what? And then you got people who let me just say this too. You get the people out there who go, yeah, but what about the Mariners have never won one? Let me explain something to you. They haven't been around as long. These teams that we're talking about. These are teams that generations have come and gone and did not see it. Okay, this. I mean, you're talking long time. I mean, we had great teams. You had the '75 team with Carlton Fisk. You had 86, and Buckner fucked us. It went through his legs. Behind the bag. Everybody remembers that if you're over the age of 40. It's behind the bag. It gets Bill Buckner. Everyone remembers that. Bucky Dent.
I remember that.
Remember that one. We had a lot of heartbreak. I mean, we earned it, And I heard that comment you made about Red Sox not, maybe deserving that World Series in '04, but I'm not going to get into that tonight. I heard that comment the other night when you were there.
I honestly, I did not say that, but...
Yeah, you did. You said, well, we argue about the Red Sox in 2004, and I was like, Bear, get on that, buddy.
No, we don't want to get into it, but that was not what I said. That was not what I said. It was kind of, if you were going to say that Barry Bonds' record should be erased, then the Yankees and the Red Sox and all those championships should have been gone. That's what I said about that. I did not say they did not deserve it, and I wasn't advocating for those championships to be stripped. So, but the Phillies, just so you know, they were founded in 1883, so they almost went 100 years before they won a World Series.
Yeah, they're another old team. They're one of the original teams.
Yeah, I mean, so they've only won twice in their history. So
2008, I think, was the last one.
Yeah. 2008 was the last one. We lost to the Yankees in 2009. So, I mean, I'll tell you what. One of my favorite years, though, was the year we lost to the Blue Jays. We had such a great run that year. It was the most fun. We weren't supposed to win 70 games that year, and you know what? We had a heartbreaker in Toronto. But
was that the Joe Carter game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was tough. The Joe Carter game was tough, but I kind of expected it. And
touch them all, Joe.
But the year we had was really special. It was a fun year to watch baseball. It was a true Rocky Balboa story, and it was like losing to Apollo in the fight. So, it was great, and that's what this year feels like. It's a Rocky Balboa story again.
Yeah. Well, anyway, enough of the baseball talk. I don't want to bore all of our listeners like Nicole.
No, but thank you, Mr. Middleton, for putting this team together this year.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I do wish you Phillies luck this year. For your sake,
thank you.
I do wish you luck.
I won't be off the edge at this point. We're playing with house money, so.
That's true. It's a good way to look at it. That's a good attitude. I'll give you that. That's a very good attitude. That's real respectable. So, Coop, last time we were on here, we did a marathon. We did an El Oso Fumar special edition length show. So there was a lot to cover. Now, I know that let me say this, and you can interject with whatever you want to say, because I want to get it out there for the record. I know that most people probably know that there was a press conference today with Luciano. We're not going to get into that. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to get into that stuff. So if you came here for that, I'm sorry, but I just want to be upfront with everyone so everyone knows. We won't be getting into that discussion tonight on the show. I think that's fair, and we're just going to move on to other things. I just wanted to put that out there for the record. But Coop, I know you had something that you PCA related that you wanted to bring up on the show tonight.
Yeah, I brought this up on KMA, but I want to have more of a discussion on it. For eternity, there's always been drama at the PCA trade show in regards to two things: location and time of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's always drama, right? Like, where is the trade show going to be, and when should we hold the trade show? In the last few years, this drama has intensified, particularly with the time of the year, where I've heard all these people say, damn, why is the PCA hold their trade show in July? Why aren't they, it's the worst time of the year to have it. No one goes because of it. No one wants it there, right? So the PCA did a survey, which, by the way, if PCA is listening, thank you for sending those to the media, because I would have loved to have filmed one that was out, right? I think we should have had a fill out on that.
Yeah.
So I'm very disappointed we did not get the survey. Just and that's a side note. We'll deal with that another time. But in there was a question in the survey, and there was two questions I'm going to say specifically, and it was on basically they surveyed people who went to the trade show, and they asked them to like give their satisfaction with the dates of this year's trade show. So that was July 9th to 12th or whatever. And they did this survey. The results were published in the PCA magazine this month. And Matt, do you know how the results came out?
Why don't you remind me, Coop? Because I forgot.
Okay, so
I did know, but
you could rate these from very poor to okay to good to very good to exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take poor and very poor, only 19% said poor or very poor. 12% said poor, 7% said very poor. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look at if you look at okay as positive, right? Okay was another 19%. So if everything above okay is neutral. Let's say okay is neutral. Everything above okay, good, very good, and exceptional is 62% total. 15% for exceptional, 20%, 27% for very good, and 20% for good. Where is this backlash that the PCA is doing the wrong time of the year for the trade show? And why is this even coming up at this point? Like, because you remember we sat in that painful press conference, right? You talk about that painful press conference where everyone was talking nothing about they're all talking about the 2024 show and having it in New Orleans in April, because everyone wanted this show in April.
I was there.
This should be the door should be closed on this at this point, right? And here's the other thing, Matt. In terms of the venue, which is the Venetian Convention Center, only 2% said it was poor or very poor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 92% said good, very good, or exceptional. So people are happy with July, and they're very happy with the venue. Why is there effort even, unless it's a bad business negotiation that the PCA is having, right? It was bad business for them to do that there, right? But I don't get that. They were putting this up, hey, we're going to see what people think. I don't think there's any discussion point anymore unless you're convinced that the people who didn't answer the survey and didn't go to the show are the naysayers, which I'm not convinced that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've gone back and forth on this whole PCA thing so many times in the last 2 years, and more so about the future this year, as you said before, because it came up. And at this point for me, I'm baffled at it's such a big deal to everybody.
It's always this drama is always the case.
I know, but I know that. But that's what I'm saying. It's like and I feel like it's always way bigger than it needs to be, and it's just like. I get it. Certain people want certain things, and other people want different things, and I get it. But it's like people it's like politics or anything else. It's like if you don't get your way, people just get more aggressive, and when people start saying stuff.
Yeah.
The only credible thing, we have Jay Davis with us. Okay, Jay actually sits on the board at PCA. So if there's anyone tonight that could comment on this that I'm gonna listen to, it's gonna be Jay, because he sits in on those meetings and stuff. Now, I know Jay still has his own opinions too, and I understand, I respect that, and I understand that too. But from a PCA perspective, I mean, look, they're weighing their options. We sat in that meeting. You and I sat there, and it was said to us, listen, and this is what Greg Zimmerman said to us.
Yep, I know what you're gonna say. Yep.
He said, we asked people. They said, whether it's in Vegas or New Orleans, which are the only two, really the real main two cities they're looking at, they're going to come either way. They don't care. That's what we were told by the board. And Jay was and Jay, I know you'll chime in, but Jay, you were sitting up there too, right next to him, and you were there too. And I know you heard it. Now, I don't know if you were going to agree with that, but you were there. That's what was said, and that's what we took as like we were told, listen, we're going back and forth, we're looking at options, but the survey we did, it was like here or here. We'll go no matter what. Okay, so I mean, look, if I understand Vegas is probably more expensive, but at the same time, like we've talked about before, New Orleans is a much less friendlier smoking city.
And it was a miserable trade show that year there. It was just the trade show would have such a different vibe in New Orleans because of the fact that there is no Bar Luca. I mean, I'm going to be very honest. And not that everyone hangs out at Bar Luca. It's because there's a central hub. That's the point. There won't be a central hub in New Orleans, which will be the problem. So that's where that whole problem comes. So I mean, and people have short memories of that.
Yeah. I know that Mitchell brought up a good point. Mitchell said before, I just had it up here. LOL, like where? So many people keep saying this with no actual good option. I've heard a few options on people talking about Florida. People are mentioning Florida. I know that there was one in Orlando previously. I know people have mentioned the possibility of Tampa. There's been a lot of other good ones. And then when I've asked, it was like, oh, well, like, the convention space is not available whenever, when we want to do it, or it's too small, or they don't have all the things that we need to put on the show. So, I mean, they're looking at things, and it doesn't always just come down to like, we don't like that one. People explore options, and logistically it all has to align, and it has to be, effective and whatever.
I agree.
It's not like people. I feel like people think it's cut and dry. Jay says right here, Miami is not an option. Tampa is too small and not available. Orlando was worse than New Orleans, in my opinion.
That I disagree with on him, but I know a lot of people had the same feeling as Jay. But I know a lot of people. But yeah, I mean, it was like, I don't like Vegas. I prefer it not in Vegas. I think Vegas is over expensive. It's crowded. I don't. But I get it works for us there.
It does.
So why are we with? Well, unless it's like Jay said, it's expensive though. And that part I can understand, but then you don't need to put that up to a vote, guys. It's then if you need to make a decision to move the show. You don't need to give solicitors the feedback there.
So in the comments here, we had, does size of the floor really matter that much? Wouldn't it be more affordable if they had smaller booths? And Jay said size is very important.
It's got to look like a trade show.
It does. It can't just look like a flea market,
Did you see the flea market booths at the trade show? Some of them this year. I'm not going to call it the name. They were terrible. Didn't look like a trade show. It didn't even look. I've seen like Herf's look better than some of these booths. I mean, they look terrible. It needs to have a business of trade show vibe. And I know it's expensive. Maybe everyone can't afford to go, and I'm sorry, but I don't need to go to I don't need to go to a flea market. Exactly.
Is that a Black and M81 that you're smoking?
Yep.
Nice. I recognize the freestyle band. Yeah.
This is the last size I haven't had yet. By the way, I did light up because I was just not paying attention.
Oh yes.
I use my Cigar Blondie.
Our cutters and lighters are brought to you by Cigar Blondie accessories.
I did use them. I just was so selfish about smoking. I just didn't say it. So now I said it.
No, you're right. Our cutters and lighters tonight are brought to you by Cigar Blondie with that signature blade flame, double guillotine cutter. They come in 3 amazing finishes: chrome, white, and black. Visit cigarblondie.com today to check them out.
Check it out. These fan flame lighters are great.
I have to send you a text message here really quick.
Okay.
So bear with us. Un momento, por favor, to our audience.
Message. We usually send me a text message in the show, but I'm the worst at checking text messages.
I know. That's why I had to tell you on the air, because if I don't, check your phone. That's why it's weird, because I'm like, if I don't tell you,
I don't. I'm really bad at it, guys. Don't like, and then I'll be honest. I've actually been, I've just been cutting back.
I just need clarification from you on a particular thing. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
None whatsoever. Okay. Fair enough.
Yep.
Dan Thompson, true. The FDA used to not regulate. I believe a comment about the. Let me see. I'm trying to follow along. I can't remember. I don't remember what this is. Jay said, won't work. We've tried working with them. I think that had to do with. I don't know. I think the comments got away from me. So, but anyway, so yeah, I mean, we were talking about the trade show. Yeah, look, there's options. There's things that have been talked about. There's been some crazy things that have been proposed out there on different shows or just in conversations that I've had with people. We've heard a lot of different options on things, and but at the end of the day, like Vegas works. I understand it's probably not the cheapest option, but when you look at the big picture, most of the pieces fit together out there. If you
it does, and like I said, I don't like it. It's not my first choice, but damn it, it works for us. Maybe if we can get a better deal somewhere else, I can understand. But people like the Venetian too. Keep that in mind. But people like it,
They do.
This was your chance to. But Abe made a point this morning on this, and Abe's 100% right. This noise is made by a very small group.
Oh, it's very
like the
true.
Same, yeah. It's like the same people who promote Lanceros, right? And I'm not trying to disparage it, but there's a very strong and passionate group. I think in this case, there's a very strong and passionate group as well.
I think there's some truth to that. I think there is. It's always that. It's like anything when people complain, right? It's always the small minority of people who make the most noise, and then that's the people who get the most attention. You know why? Because the majority of people who don't care, they don't make noise about it because they don't care. So Dan Thompson says the trade show cost is a real concern as we are all suffering through inflation together, but all things weighed, Las Vegas is the best option to set of trade-offs. Mitchell made a good point here, which we've talked about. Resorts World and massive after parties at 8 Lounge. Resorts World is a big resort. I don't think their convention center is done yet, though. I think that was
That's
an
a problem,
too.
yeah.
It's not done yet, but I think they're building a pretty massive place considering the size of that resort. So maybe down the road, that can be weighed depending on the cost of that, but I don't think it's available yet. So I think that's the issue there.
So 8 Lounge, I went there. It was fantastic. They had the CLE party, right?
Yes.
But you really got to have a compelling reason to get people to leave the hub, which is the Venetian, right? So here's the compelling reason: free cigars and free booze. Mm-hmm. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
There's no other way. There's no other way around it. And I think the problem they had the PCA when they had the party down at the Cosmopolitan or whatever it was too far and people didn't know if they were getting cigars.
There was nobody there. There was nobody there.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because I think that what they tried to do is they tried to emulate what TPE did at the Sahara Pool Club with the band and all that.
Yeah.
But that was private. It was done right. I think the Cosmo nightclub thing, it was mixed with regular people. It wasn't an exclusive party. No one knew about it, and there was nobody there. I went over there briefly with a couple of people. We went in. There was nothing cigar related going on. After 20 minutes, we're out of here. And I only saw 2 people from the PCA. I saw Glenn Loop and I saw Josh Zabriskie. And I don't even think they stayed. I think they went back somewhere else. There was nobody there.
I saw Scott at the CLE party as well. And it was the same night.
So I mean, that's I don't know. Hopefully they can do something for next year. I don't know. But what I will say is I think that in regards to PCA, it's hard to get people to go down to 8 Lounge and stuff like that because you said out of the hub. TPE, most people are staying at Sahara or Resorts World. They're already up there. So at TPE, there was a lot more happening at 8 Lounge. PCA, there was not because everyone was further down the strip in the middle. So, I mean, and that's the thing. For those who have never been to Las Vegas, on TV it looks like like a little small area. It's very, very big. Just walking to the next resort, I mean, it takes you 15, 20 minutes. So in July, when even after the sun goes down, it's still 99 degrees. People don't want to walk, 6 blocks, or 6 resorts down, or they don't want to wait for an Uber that's going to take a half hour and it's going to cost them $25 because it's at peak time. on the weekend in Las Vegas when, all the Californians and the Arizonians come in and it's just extra busy. And, it is. It's a whole thing. If you've never been down there and done it, it's a convenience thing. People like to be able to come down, go to the lounge, go to the thing, go down to the trade show, and go right back up to their room or walk across the street to one of the other hotels that sometimes people stay at. That's it. I mean, people are not going to go all the way down the strip to go to 8 Lounge. I mean, it's,
No, it's true.
I get it.
It's true. But look at all these comments, Matt. This topic, I mean, you could bring if you're having a slow night, right? In story, bring up the PCA trade show and where it should be, and what time it. And look at what happens here every single time for 12 years I've been doing the media. I mean, there's nothing like stirring up a conversation like this. It's the same conversation every time, and no one cares. I love it.
Jay Davis says there is Mandalay Bay, but they don't want us. So interesting. So Jay, that you're saying that they actually turned down a proposal from you guys. I didn't know that. I didn't know about that. I had heard that it was proposed, but I didn't know that they were told.
The MGM properties are really going no smoking right now. So that doesn't surprise. And that's an MGM property.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's getting. Like I told you, it's like I've been going to Vegas for a long time. In 2005, it was much easier to smoke than it was in 2022. It's just getting harder and harder. I mean, look at all the after parties are no longer even. All the after parties are somewhere else right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been a huge problem. Or they get these, or they're outdoors in the heat.
I mean, there was a time when you went into a Vegas casino, and I mean, there was very little that you couldn't do, outside of just you can't steal and you can't count cards, but you want to smoke and drink at the table. You want to fucking have the showgirls come over and sing you a song. I mean, yeah. Now it's not the same.
Yeah, I seen Nicole's comment about the J.C. Newman Hotel and an Expo Center. I'm not even sure how much of a hotel that's going to be.
I don't think
I think it's going to be.
I think she was just going to be funny.
No, but it'd be cool. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be like a 24/7 hotel. I think it's going to be for certain. I think it's going to be like some of the stuff we see down at Nicaragua at the factories, where they have hotel-like facilities to host people, and if people want them, maybe they'll take some reservations as it grows. But I don't think it's going to be like 300 rooms. Unfortunately, people have said that to me too. Other people have said that.
So. Here's an interesting comment. Jay said Paris was interested, but the trade show flows didn't work. Now, one of the things I was going to ask you about on the show tonight, I guess this is a good time to bring it up. Do you remember the NATO show?
I know of it. Yeah.
What happened to that?
Did it go?
I think it's just before my time, and I couldn't get a lot of
information.
I
don't know. You know what? I'm not 100% sure. I gotta be honest with you.
Because from what I understand, that was held at the Paris.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if anyone in the audience can fill us in.
I don't
Maybe
have an
Jay
answer on
knows.
that one. Yeah.
That was more of a TPE-like show, if I remember. Oh, NATO became TPE. Oh, okay. So that's what happened.
So, okay, I didn't want to say it because I wasn't 100% sure, but I think that is.
Because I was just gonna say, from what I remember, it was more like TPE. It was more of an all tobacco kind of show. But now it's TPE handles NATO's trade show now. Oh, okay. All right. So that answers that question. Okay.
I think TPE is going to be very interesting this year.
I think I think people are going to go, and I think this is what's going to happen. If it becomes too conveniency, like the NAC show. Do you know what the NAC show is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, the NAC show is the National Association of Convenience Stores, and they actually just held their trade show at the Vegas Convention Center like 2 weeks ago, and that's a straightforward convenience store show, and where TPE is kind of in that realm, but this is like street. It's more about the store and the retail, not just like the products. From what I understand, there's a little bit of tobacco stuff there, but it's not enough for really any of us to be, worthy to go out there. But I get the feeling like TPE is slowly heading more towards like the NAC show, because now they're bringing in like more non-tobacco stuff to that trade show, and I don't know long term how many of the tobacco people are actually going to stick, even like the non-cigar people.
Right.
I don't know how long they're going to stay around for that.
And they're going to offer the incentives. Like, there's been big incentives offered for people to get retailers, manufacturers, and media out to that TPE. Will that continue? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I think it's a fair. Now that they're going in a different direction, I don't know if they need to put so much investment on the tobacco piece anymore.
Dan Thompson said, from a manufacturer's perspective, staying in Las Vegas is helpful, so we don't have to move booth stuff. Random cities drive up cost.
Yeah, Dad Sacco was telling me the same thing too.
See, this is one of the interesting things about this show. We have Dan Thompson, who's president of McAuliffe Cigars, so from a manufacturer high up on a manufacturer standpoint. You have Jay Davis, who's with us, who's not only a retailer, but he sits on the PCA board. So it's very interesting to have the different dynamics here with us commenting on the show, because you get those perspectives firsthand as we talk about these things from the manufacturer, from the PCA, from the retailers. It's nice to have. So Jay Davis, I think we could do the trade show at Chateau de la Coop. His house is
we may be able to work something out. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. You can do it.
That's a nice size house, but we may work something out.
The media compound.
Yeah, it's we've had pretty big media. Like, remember the media compound we had last year was enormous. We didn't have nearly as big a one this year.
Dude, the one last year was awesome.
Yeah, that was the only problem with that. We had bad internet, and that was really a problem for us. But yeah, that was a true compound we had.
Mitchell, and can we meet Coop's so-called wife? Does she exist, Jay? She does exist. She just doesn't.
Jay met her. Jay met her. Jay and John Carney have met her, and Jay has met my kids, my mom and sister.
Mrs. Cooper is real. And she just doesn't come to the trade shows.
No, it's not her thing. She doesn't. It's not. She's an integral part of Cigar Coop. I mean, I won't tell. I mean, she's behind the scenes. But we actually did talk about it. But it doesn't. Look, we're hanging out there. It's I'm with my guys all the time, unfortunately, and that's the only time I get to see them once a year. So we do try to do a lot of team bonding stuff, and she'd be kind of the odd girl out, I think, in this case.
Coop. Quick update on the Mariners game. Top of the 16th. No score.
See, I love baseball games that are no score. I love these pitchers draw games.
Wow.
And I love this. This is baseball playoffs is nothing like it, man. It's great time of the year.
It really is. I don't want to change the topic. I just wanted to give a quick update on that.
No,
still going.
Yeah.
The Yankees game's gonna finish before that one does.
Boy, oh boy, I wish that Yankee game was going the other way though.
Here's an interesting question. Mike says, does Mrs. Coop smoke cigars?
No.
There you go.
No, she's tried it occasionally, but no, she doesn't. She probably knows more about cigars from just because she does like all the proofing now. So she does she's actually good enough to catch certain things right now that you wouldn't think. But no, she doesn't smoke cigars. But she has no problem with me smoking cigars either. When we're at places, so.
You're lucky.
She's really good on stuff. She's really good on stuff like that. She used to be a little more like hold the nose years ago, but that's And now that she's seen what's involved with working what I do, I think she's come to it. I do want to take her to the factory. I really do want to take her to the factory, at least maybe the LT Ton at a minimum, right? I want her to see the factory piece because I think she'd be amazed.
Oh yeah, I think that when you go. When you go and you see that stuff, it gives you a whole new appreciation. Like, Nicole and I will be going down to a factory very soon, and I'm just really excited to see.
You haven't been to one, but you've been to LT Town, right?
I've been to LT Town, yeah, I've been there.
So you haven't seen like pre-industry or anything like that?
No, I mean I've been to LT Town. I've been to we've been to JC Newman. We saw that. But
Nicole's been to the farms in Connecticut.
Nicole's been to the farms in Connecticut. We'll be going to our first actual factory soon, so
yeah,
that'll really change the game.
But that's gonna be every factory is so different, is what I'll just tell you. I know where you're going, but everyone just has a very different vibe, is what I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And I haven't been, but I know the dynamic is always changing, and everybody does something different, and they all have different things that they do. Some grow, some don't. Some have both, and this and that, and the methods they use. So, the more you can get to, the more you can see. The more you understand. And I think the point I'm getting to is the more appreciation I think you have for it when you get to see that stuff. So yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that's awesome. I was really glad Nicole got to go down to the farm zoo this year for the Barn Smoker event. I couldn't attend because I had some other things I had to do with John down in Florida, but I was really glad she got to go and see that. That was really cool. And she got education and learned and took some stuff away from that, which is awesome. It's good to have.
Yep.
On a news side, I know you got this story too, but so General sent out a handful of news stories this week. A lot of it having to do with their holiday releases. So there's those. Fuente will be sending out the rare pinks. They're on their way to retailers now. I think some of them already got them, including the 2 new sizes. The sophisticated hooker, which is a 7.5 by 54, and the Queen of Hearts, which is I want to say it's a 3 3/4.
Yep.
By help me out, Coop. Is it 56?
50. I thought it was 54 as well. I'll look it up while you're saying it.
I want to say it was a 56. I thought it was a little bit thicker than the other one.
Maybe you're right on that.
But so those will be going out. So we're also at the time where
3.5 by 54, 3 3/4 by 54, and the sophisticated hooker is 7 1/4 by 53.
Okay. So I was kind of close. We're at that point of the year where, other than like Cigar of the Year and award season stuff that comes up, we're seeing the holiday releases, and this is the time of the year when all of the extra special, for the most part, releases come out because it's the holiday season, right? We see it with like we see it every year. We see it in other industries too. It's when the limited edition stuff comes out for the holidays because it's the gift buying season and people have more of an excuse to go and spend money. Now we haven't seen all of them yet, but they're starting to trickle in. Have you seen anything yet that has caught your attention, or maybe other stuff that hasn't really been announced that we know is coming, that has really piqued your interest for this year?
No, there's not really. I mean, other than the stuff that hasn't shipped from the trade show yet. There's really not much that I'm interested in from a seasonal standpoint. I thought General's releases were okay. I mean,
they're also jumping into the Advent calendar with the CAO.
They did 12 days, yeah.
So they're in there with that kind of.
That Diesel sideshow was exactly what it was. It was a sideshow, but that's something that I think that was a sampler they used to release years ago.
Fuente Añejo, yes, Mike. Yeah, that's a good one. That always comes out at Christmas.
Yeah, and and I agree. But we expect that every year.
Yeah,
I think we're getting into a routine where the pinks are going to be an October release, and the Añejo piece is November.
Well, the Añejos, yeah, I think the Añejos are going to be more of that November, December, Christmas, release. The rare pinks are going to be. I mean, it's more. I think the pinks are the October, the breast cancer thing, and I think that makes sense.
Exactly.
That's a great idea for that. I like how what I'll say about what Fuente does. With a lot of their limited releases that they do, there's a lot more of them throughout the year, and they're kind of timed right. You know what I mean? Like we talk about the rare pinks in October, you get the Añejos at the end of the year. Usually the 20th come out for Christmas as well. So I think what you see is like Añejos and the 20th anniversary.
Yep.
That comes out for Christmas and the holiday season. Rare pinks are in October. There's usually they send out Don Carlos and the father sets for like Father's Day. I like how they do that. They got multiple things and they around the holiday. They really spread it around. It's not like it's one thing at the end of the year, which I know not every company can do that, but it's just they like how they spread all that out.
Saka's got the holiday blend coming out.
Oh yeah.
For Stillwell. I want to smoke it. I'll be honest with you. I do want to smoke it though.
Me too. Me too.
I actually, I've reviewed a couple of the Stillwell stars. They both got 88s, which is a pretty decent score. But I'm curious. I did something different. So yeah, I'm that's supposedly a more limited release. So that one's got my interest.
I have. I'm trying to find out what I want to smoke. I think I'm gonna go HVC. Look at that. I think I'm gonna smoke an HVC tonight. I'll be honest with you. So, I liked the Stillwells. I thought they were good. It's something I would definitely enjoy from time to time. My brother-in-law, Nicole's brother, he's a very big pipe tobacco kind of guy. We gave him a couple of those to try. He actually loved them, and I was telling him about I was like, well, if you like that, I mean, the holiday blend's coming out, and and I know he wants to try that too. So I'm excited to get those. I really am. I want to see how that does. I mean, we got to smell the aromas from it at the trade show. I was like, "Phew."
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I just reviewed the English this week, and it definitely had a pipe influence. That cigar is what I'll just tell you. It was, it was like definitely pipe-like, is what I'll just say to it. The aromatic, which was the previous one I had smoked, wasn't quite like that.
According to Steve, who was on with us a few weeks ago, the aromatic is the most pipe-like, the most flavor-like. It has the strongest.
See, I didn't agree with that. I thought it was the English was much more pipe-like. Yeah.
I was trying to think. I've only had 3 of them. I think I've had all of them but the aromatic actually. So I actually can't say firsthand, but I've had 3 of the 4, and I think aromatic is the only one I haven't had yet.
Yeah, who's gonna smoke this? I don't know.
Who's that supposed to be?
Who's Steve?
Oh, see, I don't think that's a good Steve. Steve doesn't have that kind of voice. His is more of a, well,
No, he's a little more nasal than that.
People say that I make great cigars, but I mean, I don't know. Who fucking knows, man? I just make them. I don't even care.
I sell them. I make money.
It is what it is. I mean, maybe one of these days I'll just fucking close up shop and move to a beach somewhere. I don't know. Me and Cindy will just move away and get away from this life. But anyway, I get, I'm excited to work on the next one.
Yeah. Abe was a lot more low key with his advent calendar this year.
Yeah, he was.
He did a smaller release of them, and from KMA this morning, it sounded like he's moving on to the next project. I think he's going to do a few more releases. He's got some of the packaging still.
Yeah.
And then I think he's going to move on. It sounded like. That's Abe. Abe likes to do something, and when he feels it runs the course, he doesn't let it jump the shark. He goes on to the next thing. So good for him.
Yeah, he doesn't keep beating the horse. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we did it. It was good. Now let's do something new. I'll give him that. I think that I will. Speaking of Steve, all jokes aside, we love Steve, but I would be interested to see him do one.
12 Days of Soccer.
That would be even more than 12 Days of Soccer. I don't know.
360. Why not go 365?
Steve's gonna see this. We're gonna get in trouble.
I always get in trouble with Steve.
But no, that would be a good one. But no, I mean, you're right. He was a little bit more low key. I feel like there was a lot more hubbub and buzz on the Cage the Dog, the microblend that they're doing with Espinosa. I feel like I didn't hear. I feel like I heard more about that than I did about the Advent calendar.
Because it wasn't new. The Advent calendar was a returning thing. These is gonna be different cigars.
Right.
Yeah.
But still, I felt like a little bit of hype on it and remind people.
I did not get excited about Cage the Dog at all. I know I should, but I didn't. There's nothing that interested. And I love Espinosa cigars. Nothing interested me with that.
Have you had it, or do you just
no? But
it's another
Habano Rosado blend from Espinosa. They always do Habano Rosado. I'm like, it's nothing exciting anymore.
Have you expressed this concern to Hector?
Yes, Hector knows my thing on that. And if you watch Hector's interview, Hector did an interview on some show a couple weeks ago. He talked about he likes to do other. Hector does like the dabble, but Eric loves Habano. So but I'm like, I'm honestly, I'm like, why another Habano Rosado blend? I mean, it's just like, to me, it just didn't excite me. I'm like, I'll try it if I have my opportunity to try it, but I'm not going to chase it down.
So there's one comment I want to get to, but I want to circle back first. A baseball update. Kevin Schweitzer's here with us from Rockefeller Cigars. Coop, record broken, 16 scoreless innings in postseason.
I was wondering what the record was. Good job, Kevin. Yeah.
Jay Davis bottom of this. Top of the 17th. It's top of the 17th now. But I wanted to circle back. So Steve Newman made a comment here. Curious what Abe's plans are for KMA. He recently mentioned he was going in a different direction. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I'll talk about it. He talked a little about it at the end of the show.
Okay. I missed KMA today.
They're gonna try a little more. We're gonna try a little more of a free-form format, in terms of kind of doing what we do here, but free-form. Not necessarily all in cigars either. because KMA is like getting close to 500 episodes, and they're constantly recycling guests at this point. So they want to try. Abe's gonna experiment with it and see how it goes. It's kind of like the banter piece that's done at the beginning. They're gonna try to expand. We're gonna try to expand that to the whole show.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I think it's a good. I thought, and I actually supported it. I thought it was a good idea.
Nicole and I have been talking, about the Smoking Tobacco show, going forward. I mean, we're going to be 3 years in, and which is, a lot younger than, like KMA and whatnot. But at the same time, I don't want to wait to get to that point. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, what can we do now to change it? And we've already started to kind of prepare and take steps to move towards doing some different things with that show. Definitely a lot more banter. Definitely a lot more other aspects to the show that we're still working on to definitely change it, because I don't want it to just continue to be the interview show that it has become. It wasn't always like that, and now I feel like we're becoming just like the interview show, which is great, and I love having our guests on talking to them, but it's also like I know that after a while that kind of gets to it kind of gets stale after a while, so I'm trying to find some new things to do. For example, so I'll announce one that it's kind of far out, but on December 8th, we got Matt Booth coming back. And I spoke to Matt, and so this kind of started with something that happened on social media. I posted something about do you go to Costco? Are you a Costco shopper?
My wife is.
All right, but so you guys get products from Costco.
She does, yeah. I don't think I've been there in several years.
So Mike said, need a spare notes polo. Yeah, message Nicole. She handles all of the apparel. She can take care of that. They have this thing. So we are a BJ's household and a Costco household. We like to joke that we have the dynamic duo of the big box stores. At the holidays, speaking of holiday releases, they come out with this like European cookie set. And it's like the chocolate covered like cookies and biscuits and shit.
Mm-hmm.
in like the metal tin.
Well, yeah, yep.
So I posted like, hey, like no one beats Costco on the Christmas cookie tin, and it started a thread and whatever. And I guess somewhere people were commenting like you should do a cigar and like cookie pairing show. And at first I kind of laughed. I'm like, that's kind of ridiculous. I don't know what I could do with that. But then I got thinking, and I was like, well, there's a few people I could do that with if I was to do it.
Abe's wife's going to be making some cookie thing he was announcing today.
So
she's going to be selling cookies, yeah.
I texted Matt the other day, and I said, let me ask you a question. You've already been on like 3 times, so I'm not going to do the usual song and dance with you. I don't want to do something different. And it's going to be the Christmas time, and I want to do like fun stuff. I said, if we send you one of the Costco cookie tins full of cookies, can we do a cookies and cigars pairing show? And he was like, fuck yeah. I'm like, all right, done.
It'll be it's going to be dangerous.
And so that is what we will be doing with Matt on December 8th at 7 p.m.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, tune in for that. And we have some other things. Carney hasn't been on the show in a while, and Carney is always fun to do stuff with. So I gotta get with him and try to cook up something for the holidays. Because he's definitely due back on. He hasn't been with us. He's now becoming
the co-host.
I know he's now he's at guest status now, and if you ask him, he'll say it's my fault because I changed the time of the show. But it's like my hands were tied.
I felt bad. In full disclosure, we had Carney on last week, right? He didn't do your show. He did my show. I felt like
no.
I know. I'm like, well, you should have Matt show. Like, and you know what's funny? We don't have Carney on. We hadn't had Carney on for a LaFleur show in 3 years though. In fairness, we do we've been doing the pregame show with Carney for like 8 or 9 years, going back to Stogie Geeks. Carney's done it with us, right? And I brought it over. But and then you guys obviously you do your thing on the game day shows, which are great.
Yeah.
For the Super Bowl. But yeah, we actually hadn't had Carney on in a long time for a cigar show. So it was the first time in 3 years we had him on. So it's we've here's Matt, here's what I say about this. I hear all these shows say we want to recreate what's in a cigar lounge. I will tell you that the primetime show, the goal is to not create what's in a cigar lounge because everyone else is, or most other people are doing that.
Yeah.
Even when we do a banter type show, we try to just do it a little different. So, I think there's just a lot of those out there. So my fear is like I'll see how KMA works, but there's a lot of those types of shows out there already too.
Right.
That and some. So I don't know how it's gonna go. But I think they got to give it a shot. Too. I told you I think you should give it a shot.
I spent a lot of time listening and watching a lot of other shows. Anybody who knows me personally knows that there are like 2 shows that I listen to. One of them's a much newer. The other one I haven't listened to lately, but I've listened to it for years. And that's the Howard Stern show and your mom's house, which is the Tom Segura and Christina P show. Those are like my 2 biggest shows that I watch outside of anything cigar related.
I was for a long time Mike and the Mad Dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Mike and the Mad Dog, WIP morning show in Philadelphia, which now you can watch these things nationally. And a lot of concepts I've taken have come from those 2 shows.
Yeah, so like as I continue to watch, these other shows, I start to think about outside of cigar stuff, like what elements could I take from that and bring them to my show? And so I have some ideas and some things I want to do to kind of change it because I still I want to continue to be different as much as I can. And you're right.
Yeah.
I think that the rotating of the guests is going to run its course, and so
it runs its course.
People can still have guests on, but it can't still be the same Q&A. Like, what's new? It's like having them come on and like, yeah, like this is so and so from so and so, and like they have this new cigar, we're gonna smoke it.
Yeah.
But then that's done. Now let's just do something completely out of the way that's different.
Yeah. I mean, we try to. What our rule is, we try to have a stakeholder. Usually, is what we try to do too. So, someone who's got financial investment in it, who does know cigars, or someone like a Carney who's vested in a true national like sales job. And you've heard me say a million times, there are national sales managers and there are national sales reps, and they're both called national sales managers. Carney's a national sales manager. There's a difference. But I get these other guys that they're called national sales manager, and they're the whole rep for the country.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
So
we try to always. That's what we try to do. So it limits it a little more, even what we do, because of that. I'll tell you that like one
That's
of the
good.
surprise show. Yeah.
By the way, for those who are following along at home,
Yeah.
I'm drinking Blanton's Gold with my cigar tonight on the show.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
what were you gonna say, Coop?
No. What was I gonna say?
Sorry, I cut you off with my own.
No, that's all right. That's all right. It wasn't important enough. No, it's we like I said we've a lot of time when you're around longer, you could probably also there's guests you could still always tap into. So I wouldn't totally abandon it.
Oh
but
no,
occasionally we do switch it up occasionally, and we do other topics. So Bear and I did the sampler show a few weeks ago, which is a lot of
great show.
I'll tell you what, thank you. It got really good numbers for us too. It was just a topic we'd never really seen anyone tackle before. I think Cigar Authority, in fairness, might have tackled it. So I don't want to say we were the first. I think they probably tackled it a few years ago.
I have a couple different kinds of pairing shows I want to do. I have a wine show that I want to do with several people in the industry who are known as wine drinkers. I have ideas about other things that are cigar related but are much different that I want to do, and I'm not going to share any of those now. I want to save those for when it's time to announce them. But like my point being, like I have some things I want to do. One of the things is I wanted to say I really liked what you and Bear did on Tuesday with the Power Ranking show. And
that was a last minute thing we did too.
I really liked that, and I had talked to you about that after, and I said, hey, I just want to let you know I don't want to steal your idea, but I'm kind of stealing your idea, and of course you gave me your blessing. I'm gonna do something different though, so it's not really the same thing.
Right.
I'm gonna be doing something that's like a 3-parter. And what I've decided to do is it's going to be a written piece. It's going to be 3 separate articles that I'm going to release on the website. But then what I want to do is when they come out, I want to bring those to this show and we can talk about it. Because you did the Power Ranking show with Bear the way you did yours. Mine's going to be similar, but it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be broken down a little bit further. And so I want I want to do that and have that ready. So you guys can all read about that on Smoking Tobacco. We're still writing that and editing it and getting it all ready. But when they come out and it's out there, I want to take that and then maybe for like on one of the next spare notes, we can kind of do more of a show like that where you can kind of present your data and I'm going to present my data and we're going to see how they kind of intermingle.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think that'll be something really interesting. It's along the same idea. If you didn't see Coop's Power Ranking show, you should check that out.
It was scary how close Bear and I were on those lists.
It was very.
We had all the same top 11. Like our top 11 were identical, just different positions.
So what I will tell you is when I started working on mine, I started to kind of get similar names, and I wasn't even trying to. And then Nicole pointed out, and I was like, you know what, you're right. But I was like, I told her, I'm like, but it's kind of hard because like the way Coop did it was a little bit more specific, and those names are kind of like, you know, it makes sense. So we got the idea of kind of breaking it down even further. And you'll see what I mean by that in the future. So it'll be exciting. I think you guys will find it interesting. It'll be further broken down, and it'll make more sense. It'll make more sense.
So we are going to do another set of power rankings early next year. Bear and I are still kind of putting it together, but it will be factory power rankings. But we think those are a little tougher to do, and we probably can only do those once a year. I think we're going to try to do the company ones twice a year, but the factory ones, I think it's a little. But we're thinking of doing that because we didn't really address that piece. But that's still to be determined. But that's what we've been bouncing around as a possibility.
I like that idea. I think it's nice to do it maybe like twice a year. You do it at the beginning and you do it at the end. So you kind of see like coming into the new year, like who's doing this, and then at the end of the year you do it again to see like well, what's changed, or you know. So I'm excited.
We thought about persons, but this industry is too fickle. They can't handle it. So, you know, like they'll get a little upset. So, I mean, we do like person of the year. We take so much crap for every year. It's unbelievable the grief we take on the person of the year thing.
Yeah, you do a person. Last year we did a man and a female. Which I like that because it's different. But we'll see how it works out in the long term.
Yeah, I mean we have persons. We were the first ones to do that one, and I'm gonna that's okay. Great ideas get copied. I mean, so it's been copied since. But there was another media site that was doing person in a little different way around when so he was doing. Like People Magazine has those 10 most fascinating people of the year. This guy did 10 fascinating cigar people every year. So that's what he
cool.
did.
I like that.
Yeah, but he's no longer around.
Who was it? Do you know?
Toasted Foot.
Oh, I've heard that name. Yep.
John David's site, and he's just disappeared. No one knows what happened to John David. One of the really good guys in cigar media that came along.
Skip, stay safe. Lightning storm. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, don't kill yourself.
Yeah, don't kill yourself.
By the way, it's the bottom of the 17th inning. This
I got it up here on my other computer.
Boy, if Houston doesn't win this, it's going to be tough on them. I'll tell you what.
They either clinch or
and the San Diego game's delayed. I don't know if it's delayed because they can't get a TV station. Maybe
it might be.
Is it a rain delay? If anyone knows if the San Diego LA game's a rain delay, let me know. But I wonder because you don't usually get rain delays in San Diego. But I bet it's getting rain. I guess they don't have a TV network for it.
Interesting point on the baseball thing. So you see them go bottom 17. So you're talking almost 18 innings now. You've played almost 2 games, in the playoffs. Early in the playoffs, are you burning out your bullpen? Is it worth it?
Well, actually, I got a message from someone saying that the Seattle was down to their last pitcher. So
you have to ask yourself. I guess it's situation to situation. In this situation, Astros up 2-0. And there it is. End of the 17th. We're going to 18. Is it worth it?
Well, I think if you're Houston, you want to close this series out. I think you want to just you got them down 2-0. You just want to put this. You'll get a couple of days off. Seattle's gonna have it much tougher, but at the same time, they'll have momentum going into Game 4 if they win.
Very true. It's so interesting.
The Phillies, we all knew if we didn't win this game today, we would have to go back to Atlanta, and they would have the momentum. And So the idea was we had to close that out at home.
Absolutely.
Like Houston has to stay another day in Seattle if that happens.
It'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. What's the Yankees right now?
Well, unfortunately, it's 5-3 Yankees over the Guardians in 7th inning.
And who leads that series?
Tie.
It's tied.
Yeah, boy, and I'll tell you what, I would not want to be the Yankees going down 2-1. It's gonna get ugly in New York.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Yankees had a big break. The Mets choked.
Alex said that LA San Diego is on, just started.
Okay, so yeah,
Finally.
Yeah, but New York's famous for having one coach or one team in the crosshairs of the media. And the problem they have right now is the Giants and Jets are playing good. The Rangers, it's hockey season just starting. Basketball season is about to start. So everything's going to be on the Yankees right now. They're going to be under the microscope. Once this Mets thing wears off.
A lot of baseball left to play.
Yeah.
Also, there's some concern over Tom Brady. He's publicly been open about, the mental struggle of the divorce situation has been weighing on him. And then I heard that I guess he missed practice today. Or yesterday.
You guy go. You feel for. I mean, look, I don't. Guy, kid, or okay aside, you feel bad in cases like that. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, kids and stuff like that. So. Certain things, there's certainly you don't wish bad things on anybody with that. You just hope his kids are going to do okay and stuff like that. And, I kind of, funny thing is I asked Carney about whose side is he on. He took Giselle's side on this one.
I think most people are. I can see it. I mean,
I'm on Brady's side.
Why is that?
Because he's earning a living.
Okay.
I mean, the guy won, but the guy's earning a living, and he's a historic figure in this sport. He's doing things that maybe no other person can do at his age. He probably should have managed that better. He should not have retired to begin with, and coming back was worse. So, but he's doing a historic thing. I mean, he's not gonna have many more years he can do this. I mean, But I don't know. Who knows what's going on? That may be a smokescreen for other problems. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't want to, And even John said that the other night, too.
It's true. Yeah, you don't know what's going on.
So.
I don't know. I saw that he missed practice, and the few days before that, it was like Tom Brady has admitted, he has some mental health struggles, and it is sad to see. And then you start to wonder, like, well, do we see? Is this like a stumbling end for him? Because this becomes the.
That's why I say I hope that's not the way it ends for him. You know what I mean? That's not how it should. I want it to end like it ended for Brett Favre throwing that interception. That's how I want it to end. I don't want it to end over something a marriage breakup or your kids getting scarred or something like that. That's not how you want that to end. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good for anybody.
No.
Anyway. We'll have to see how the rest of the NFL season unfolds. That's the other thing too. Once baseball's over, we'll have football, and then football will be over, and then there'll just be basketball and hockey.
What was interesting today though? The Flyers were down 2-1, and they put on the Phillies game in the arena, and they came back. The Flyers and won 3-2.
Astros got one. Pena home run.
Boom. Dusty Baker, baby. I'm a big Dusty fan. I love Dusty Baker. I want him to get I'd love to see him get a World Series.
This has turned into the baseball show.
Yeah. By the way, I got to make a comment on this Black and M81.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think this is the Corona Doughboy size I'm smoking. This is the best size I've had of it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's got a little more age on it, but this is the best Freestyle Live cigar I've smoked. Like all the Freestyle Live cigars, I've been very transparent. They really haven't. They've underwhelmed me. This one I'm really enjoying. So I think this may be getting a little age on it, but I think this is a nice size they did with it too.
Do you think that Drew Estate will just continue to release all their new stuff through the Freestyle Live program?
Major stuff. I think new brands they'll do.
Yeah.
I think they, but I don't see them continuing to do 2 brands a year. That's a lot. So I can maybe see it cutting down to 1 brand a year.
Oh, by the
So
way, that reminds me. Last time we were on was October 4th or something like that.
2 weeks ago. Yep.
Yeah, so we haven't met since the announcement of the Quality Importers Global NFT.
Yep. Yeah, we haven't. That was last week. It happened.
I forgot about that, and you know what? I want to talk about that. So, look, I know the NFT thing in the cigar industry has been kind of a big topic. And then, judging by this, it's not the same as what LFD did, and it's not the same as what Abe's doing with Tatuaje, with the Anarchy and all that. This is not an actual NFT, if I remember correctly.
You're not buying. You don't have to buy an NFT with this one.
Right, you're buying the artwork of the NFT that's on their accessories?
Yeah, basically they licensed NFT artwork.
Okay.
So they got and I was talking about this with Abel a little this morning. I guess this idea of designing NFT digital art is a craft. I mean, it's something that is I guess now sought after, right? So they got some NFT artists to do some designs, and they're plugging it in through the Swag Bunker, which is the in-house customization facility where they can customize Quality Importers products. And I think obviously NFT's got a buzz. I think it was a great idea. But it's not. You don't have to bid. There's no investments here.
Do you think that for the average consumer, this is still going to be something that they're interested in, because more people can get their hands on it, or do you think that more people are interested in like the LFD and the smoke in thing, where it's like, well, I want the cigar that like no one can have?
I think there's probably more interest in buzz in terms of what LFD's doing, but I think
for the consumer,
this is something where I think if people buy it, they're gonna buy it because they like the artwork.
Okay.
And I don't. I think it's gonna be secondary if it's NFT or not.
Okay. Yeah, Jay said NFT boring, QI boring. QI still showing no support or real love for their retailers. They need to get off Amazon and get sales reps out of their houses if they are really serious about working with brick and mortar. And that you heard it from Jay, who's a retailer. That's Jay always has an axe to grind too. You have an axe to grind. Jay always brings an axe to grind. I guess we'll call that one out with Jay. Look, I think Quality Importers is going through some changes right now. I think they're doing some interesting things.
I think they're going through some good changes right now. I think you just got to give it a little time. And hopefully they address Jay's concerns, yeah.
Yeah, so if Jay as a retailer is reporting that, that's one thing. But what my response to that would be, from what I've seen, they brought in Joe, they brought in Michael Giannini. I think that they're doing some things. They're moving in the right direction. It'll be interesting to see what it's like in the next year or two for Quality Importers. I think you're going to see some real turnaround, or maybe not turnaround is maybe the best term, but I think you're going to see a much different direction with them. I think you're going to see some of their brands really blow up, because I think Joe and Michael and everyone else, but I think with Joe with the marketing and the media piece, I think that he'll really be able to help get momentum behind like the Cigar brand and stuff like that. I think it's going to be good for them. We've already seen, right out of the gate, he's already started with social media, trying to rally the consumer base behind the brands together. And I think that's what a brand like that needs.
And they need that, and they need to address the retail channel, I think, as Jay said. But Jay's right on. I think, you definitely want to have more of your BMN engagement on that too. Making sure your purveyors are carrying this stuff,
Yeah. I mean,
so
when it comes to accessories, Coop, as a whole, like all the brands, whether it's, DuPont and LE Blue, or it's, Quality Importers and Cigar, Lotus, Calibri, are any of the accessory brands, like, I feel like every shop I go into, it's like something that retailers carry because they feel they have to, but it's never really focused. There's not a lot of care put into it. Do you think it falls on the retailers, or do you think it falls on those brands?
I think it falls a little more on the brands. I just think a lot of times they don't look at doing Because I think I've seen a lot of retailers who carry these products, and they do a great job at displaying them. And I went in and bought. I have this other lighter here, this Rocky Patel lighter, and I got it from Tinderbox in Charlotte, and they had a great Rocky Patel accessories area. And someone actually took the time to go through that. So I think there are retailers that do the job. But I just think in general, a lot of times it's just been this drop it off and go kind of deal, where there hasn't been a lot of engagement with the consumers through events or anything like that. So that's why I think what Quality Importers is doing is so strategic. And I think it's just the beginning. So I think you can't expect them to turn this around overnight.
Oh yeah,
But,
like anything, it takes time.
I mean, let me be honest. Like most of the retail companies, if you ask them for press release information, they'll give that to you. But it's like there's not much more than that, right?
Yeah.
And it's just not that there's something just missing than printing a press release. And I think that's what Quality Import. I think that they're starting to do this right now with Mike and Joe, which are two great guys who I know could do this.
Look at DuPont, right? They switched their distribution to Coles of London. Les Mann's back at the helm with ST DuPont. Les Mann's done a great job with them in the past.
Les a great guy. You know Les, yeah.
Yeah, I think that they're another one where I think you give them some time, and I think DuPont and Cigar and Quality Import. I mean, it's a little different, but in that same realm of the accessories piece, I think those are two big companies that have both made some staff changes. Obviously DuPont's distribution changed. I think that's another one where you're going to see a little bit more organization with that brand too. I think that's another one. I go into shops and they'll have a couple of Line 2s and maybe a couple of Maxi Jets and that's it. But honestly, I mean, I think with the right people, you'll see a lot more of that stuff moving. And I think it's not just about what some of it costs. It's just it's the way they push it, right? And the way they enforce it, the way they educate the retailers, and the availability of products to the retailers, and then giving the retailers the tools to sell those products. I think those are two on the accessory side. I think those are two companies that you're going to see major changes happen with in the long term.
Yeah.
LA Blue is really ramping it up. They got a lot of stuff that they're doing, and that they're getting more popular. You got Manny Ariarte stuff, Opus X Society. I think that's a real special
LA Blue
thing.
stepped up their game this year too with dealing with media. They did. So they did a better job.
Yeah, they did.
They have a new company doing their distribution here, and I think that helped out a lot.
Now, the only other one that comes to mind that kind of feels like it's beginning to get forgotten, at least in terms of their actual accessories, not because of the cigars they release and because of what those cigars are, Prometheus.
But I don't know. I've always looked at them as kind of a niche segment.
Would you put Opus X Society in the niche segment?
Yeah.
Do you think
because not a lot of people can buy that stuff?
Right. But do you think that Opus X Society will become bigger and better than what Prometheus is?
Prometheus had a lot of years in this, but not quickly. But they may become a more higher end one, I'm thinking.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, Prometheus has had some nice stuff, but I'll be honest with you, I have some of their lighters and their cutters, and at first it looks really nice, but you get your hands on some of their lighters. I've had some issues.
Yeah.
It just for what they are, I feel like the quality should be better.
Yeah.
It's been a little disappointing.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I use a lot of QI products. I mean, I have a DuPont lighter. I have one DuPont lighter. I have a couple Colibri products, but I tend to use a lot of QI products.
I'm pretty much either QI, DuPont, and of course, Cigar Blondie
Cigar
too.
Blondie, yep.
Cigar Blondie too. That's another one. I think the Cigar Blondie, it's very small, it's very new, but I think with the way that it gets marketed, it could turn into something.
I love this cutter. This is a really nice cutter they did. I mean, you have control of it. It cuts clean. It's easy to clean the blades on this thing too. One thing I'll say about
it's the white set.
Yeah, one thing I'll say about the Cigar cutters, they are a pain to cut clean the blades because the XI2, great cutter, but you have to really clean those blades.
I use the XO, and I'll be honest with you, I like this cutter. It's a 60 ring cutter. It's comfortable in the hand. But I do notice that it doesn't always cut clean, and I know how to cut real properly. I mean, I smoke a lot of cigars, you know what I mean, and it's I feel like there's a lot of times when it's just you got it lined up, you got it held right, you're doing the right thing, and it causes more damage sometimes, and it's disappointing. Not always, but frequently enough that it's memorable. Oh, Hector J. Alfonso is with us. Hector, hello.
Hector
is with us. I wish he was here. I wish he was here earlier for the discussion, but
no, he knows about. I'll say it. Hector, I talked a little about Habano. Man, too much Habano. He knows it. I said it to him.
We talked about the Cage the Dog release, and Coop said he wasn't wowed by it because of the Habano. Maybe Hector can give us his input on that now that he's here watching the show.
I'll say something else. Hector also knows I'm not wowed by shop exclusives anymore. Period. So I mean, it's just I'm sick of them. So I'm much more interested in national releases.
Jay Davis, I'm a Platinum Nova account, and I didn't even know about their Blondie accessories until you guys started working with them. Same people? It's not a Platinum Nova thing. It is a completely separate entity that is owned by Leo, who is the CEO of Nova. But it is a separate entity.
It's a separate entity, yeah.
So if you're a Nova account, that doesn't always mean...
But she had this on display at the Nova booth. They were on display at the Nova booth.
She did, and I think because she was there, and she had the space, because it's a new line. It's real small. It's real new. It just came out, but it's not part of Nova.
Yeah.
It's still separate, and I'm not sure how she's handling that, but you'd have to ask her for more. I'm not sure how she's actually doing that part of it. So.
And what do I use? A clean blades? I use alcohol. The alcohol preps I use.
I do too. Yeah. I clean all my accessories with alcohol, even and
it also kind of contaminates them too. So, and I have. Do you have a sloppy cutter?
Yeah,
everyone. So I have a sloppy cutter where I just will sometimes adjust the cut and stuff on something I'm smoking, and I don't give that to anybody. So I try to keep that very clean as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice to have one. The wet mouth, the wet cigar cutter. That's I know.
We all have them. You just don't give them out, and But even I like clean this one. I don't give it out. So, and it's not my Cigar Blondie one either. So,
Jay said I clean my accessories with goat's blood and sage. Well, not all of us can be as holistic as you, Jay.
I have a bunch of.
Do you do a sacrifice when you do that too? I mean, come on.
I have about 50 Zippo lighters sitting that I got from my dad when he passed away.
Yeah.
He had a collection. I got to replace all the inserts. I don't have to play. I'm just going to use them with the inserts. I just haven't done them yet. But he's got some nice designs of them. We had a nice glass case, but it broke in transport back to New York. From New York, so I got to get a new Zippo case for that.
The Zippo inserts are not bad. I have one.
They just don't always fit. They don't always fit. It's a problem.
Yeah, I only have one. I have one Zippo. I have it's a Shadow Army one that I got through Matt, and I have it in that, and it works pretty good. But I don't really use Zippos a lot. It's just not really. It's just not really my thing. But the inserts are not bad if you get them to fit.
Yeah, the problem is they don't always fit, and that's part. And now Zippo, I think, makes one though.
They do, one. And then there's third-party ones.
Yeah, but some of the Zippos are not all created the same size.
No,
I can tell you that straight hand because I've taken a Zippo out from insert from one, put it in the other. So
some of them are bigger than others.
And some are older, like some of the older designs. Like I know I'll just never be able to put an insert in them, and then they don't shut. Is the problem.
1-0, bottom of the 18th. Well, all right, Seattle. It's now or never.
We got a couple of thank yous to give out tonight if they lose. So it's
Mitchell, the Zippos don't hold enough fuel, I find.
They don't. They're very. That's the other problem with them.
Yeah, it's a very small tank.
Yeah, it's a very small tank.
And it's a two, and I believe it's a 2-jet that point towards the middle.
They have two. There's also single ones out there.
Oh,
but I think the Zippo one he's saying. I think the Zippo one he's saying is a 2-jet. Yeah, I think that's the one.
I think mine's a Zippo then, because I have a 2-jet. The one I only have one, and it's a 2-jet, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, you don't want to use. That's the other thing. You don't want to use the actual Zippo insert with the Roncinol, the lighter fluid.
That's for cigarette. Like I said, my dad had this for cigarettes. Is what he had them for.
Yeah, you don't want to light a
So-
cigar with that.
Yeah.
That lighter fluid, you'll taste it. And it'll ruin a cigar.
Yeah. Don't. I've actually tried it. Don't try it.
I tried it
Yeah.
like years back, like
Me
in the
too.
very early days of my cigar smoking, like years and years ago. I had a Zippo. I filled it. I was all excited. I'm like, this is cool. And I like lit a cigar with it, and I just remember that taste in my mouth was disgusting.
Yep.
I was like,
You don't want it.
and then someone told me like, yeah, you don't like those with those, and I was like, I didn't know, but
Well, I knew. I was told not to, and I did it anyway, and it was a mistake.
Jay Davis, my favorite accessories are the Opus X Society, but I'm a Fuente whore, and they are pricey. They need a V cut. Well,
No,
you don't like V cuts, Coop?
I don't like V cuts.
I'm not a V cutter. I don't have anything against it. It's just not my style. But I feel like you have. I feel like you are like anti V cut.
I don't see any benefit in them. I don't see any. I haven't seen anything it does for me. If people like them, and that's great. I'm not even comfortable smoking it in my mouth.
Why?
It just feels uncomfortable.
With the slot in there.
Yep. I
Have
don't
you
like
tried
it.
crown cutting it so it's not as?
Yeah, and it's still like again. I'll just go back. I'd rather have a straight cut.
What about a punch?
No.
You don't like the punch cut
Punches
either.
avoid punch. Punch is like if you absolutely need a cut, because you get a lot of those stuff builds up under the wrapper there. It's not good. So I try to. I'll use a punch if I have to. Like I have one on a keychain, and then I'll use it that way.
From what I understand, a lot of the guys down in the factories, they don't even use cutters. They just
They did. Jose, yeah, it was, he just bites it and
yeah. Just bite the top off, or like they'll dig
Yeah.
their nail in, they'll just rip it open.
Yep. Yep.
You know, one of the things I found, so like when it comes to like LFD, everyone knows about the chisels, and everyone knows like, oh, you don't have to cut them, you can just pinch them and crack them. I'll be honest, and I've told John this, like, I don't like it. I still prefer to cut the end of the chisel off. I just feel
I do
like
too.
it doesn't.
I'll cut a very yeah.
It just doesn't. It doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it gets too hot.
Yeah. I agree with you on that.
So I don't know.
You can't be called Lancero guys, so like you Lancero guys.
What if you were stranded on a desert island,
Mhm.
and you had an unlimited supply of Lanceros that you could smoke for the rest of your life?
Yeah,
And
I'd do it.
And you only had a V cut.
I'd have to do it. Yeah, and it's not my first choice. It's not my first choice. And it's a final. Congratulations to Dusty Baker and the Houston Astros, and we'd like to thank the Seattle Seahawks for their participation this year. We'll have a formal post up announced later on. And great job by Dusty Baker, by the way, this year. What a manager.
Come on, do the whole thing. Let's go. I called you
Well,
out
I
on
gotta
this.
come up with. I don't have one yet. I haven't come up with one yet.
Oh, okay.
I haven't even come up with one for the Braves yet because I really feel the Braves are kind of like a local team around here.
Yeah.
And they were really great world champion, good representation of it. And they should have beat us. They had more talent than us. So, but it's good to see. I didn't like the fact we tomahawk chopped them in Citizens Bank Park. That's their thing. Let them have. We have our own thing. We're Red October.
I love how you said that, but then you laughed about it like you really didn't.
It's
care.
kind of funny, but I mean, it's like I didn't think it was a big deal, but I didn't think we needed to do it either. So,
Oh, Jesus.
but good season by Seattle though. They had a great season this year. I picked them to win the division actually this year, so I was wrong on that.
So far we got Astros in the ALCS, Phillies in the NLCS, and the other two series have yet to wrap. So we'll have to see.
I believe the Yankees are pretty close to pulling, but that's not over. That game's not over by any means.
Top of the eighth, 5-3. They still got to win one more.
They got to win one more in Cleveland. That could go 5 games. So
I think that one could go 5 games. Yeah.
yeah, the Yankees lost to Cleveland in '97, and I think they've beaten them every time since. So we've definitely have seen a lot of Yankee dominance from over Cleveland in recent years. It's kind of like when the Yankees play the Twins. It's like a bye.
Well, I will say, if that series goes 5 games, it's good for that Houston team that just had to play 18 innings.
Oh, they need it. Yeah, this is good news. And in fact, that it's going 4 games to begin with. That series is good for them. They get a little break. They'll come home. They'll get to play that game home. The Phillies played 14 straight games on the road for 17 days. So I mean, the Phillies really, and they were on the road for a long time.
Yeah, at least they can go.
By the way,
home
did
and
anyone
get
notice Aaron Judge has done nothing in the playoffs this year?
He got booed by the Yankees fans in Yankee
He
Stadium.
had a home run today. So we shouldn't say he had a home run today, but
But
that's
it.
This guy, come on. This guy, I'm not the biggest Aaron Judge guy, but come on, don't boo the guy. He had a great season.
I will say, I think Judge is a good player. I think he's a good guy. He's not A-Rod. He's not a douchebag. So there's that. But I've been reading a lot lately that the headlines on Aaron Judge are a pot of gold awaits Aaron Judge this offseason. Do you think that's
As well
true?
it should. And I hope the Yankees pay a lot of money to him. I mean, I hope the Yankees pay through the nose for him this year. There would be nothing better.
Or do you think someone steals him away?
No. I think if the Steinbrenners want him back, they will get him back.
They'll give him whatever he wants.
They will give him what he wants. The Yankees usually don't get outbid when they want a guy. If they don't want the guy, that's another story. I think they want the guy.
Do you think that he could break Mike Trout's contract?
Yes.
As Mike Trout was
funny?
12 years, $450 million.
Yeah, and look at the Phillies when they did it like 13 years for like 300-something million. They got a bargain with Bryce Harper. I mean, I said that when that contract was signed with Bryce Harper, I said the Phillies are gonna have a bargain with this guy in a few years. You watch, and it's been now it looks like a brilliant contract they did. As long as he stays healthy, for the most part. But yeah, I think it could. I think it's gonna break. I mean, look, if this is still New York, it's still New York as still New York. I don't buy this. He'll go to I mean, if he goes to California, they're gonna have to compensate him for the tax living out there. So. But New York tax ain't cheap either, so.
No, they're two expensive states.
Yeah.
Either
way.
way.
I hope the Yankees pay $500 million for this guy. I hope they do. It would be great. It would be strapped financially.
Jay Davis. So those in the chat, the talk about the Lanceros continues. Nicole said the 724 Lancero is actually pretty good. That's actually a very good Lancero. Jay said a lot of bad Lanceros on the market. Fuente, my father, Atabey, Saka, LFD, and Espinoza make consistent Lanceros that perform well.
Not Atabey. It performs well. I just didn't like it. The funny thing is, when we were talking to Dave in the Tesla that day, Dave wasn't a big fan of that cigar. He thought the Atabey was better in the bigger size.
Wait, say that one more time. Sorry, I was reading the comment.
When we were in the Tesla with Dave,
yeah,
we were talking about Atabey. You might have been on the phone. I don't remember, but and I asked him. I said, "Well, what do you think of the Atabey Lancero?" And he says, "I like the other size. The bigger size is better." I said, "I agree. I think that smokes better in the bigger sizes." But me and him both agree. There are people who really love that Lancero. So who are we? Because it's not like nobody likes it. People really do like that Lancero.
I do. Nicole does. It's a great Lancero.
I go for the Brujos every time.
That's a good size.
It's a great size, yeah. But I didn't like the Spiritus as much. But the Brujos is my size.
You know what I would be interested to see in the Atabey blend? A Lonsdale.
They got almost every friggin' size in there already.
But it would be interesting to see if the Lonsdale, how that performs. A little bit thicker, a little shorter. They don't have one. I know they don't have one. If you're looking,
no, they don't. They don't. Most of the Atabeys are 50 ring gauge and above. I mean, it's a fascinating line, and there's little nuances in terms of length and ring gauge, and they smoke different because of leaf placement. The other one I didn't like was the tube one, the Sabios, because I felt it took too much cedar out of the tube. But they don't have the Spiritus is kind of a pseudo Lancero. Anyway, it's not a true Lancero, but Yeah, they don't have anything. They only have 2 ring gauges under 50. They need a Corona Gorda in that one too. A
You know,
5 and 5/8 by 46 would be really good in that.
and you know what's interesting in the Alfonso line, they came out with 5 or 6 sizes, and one of them is an A,
Yeah,
which was interesting
Yeah.
to see. That's a
Yeah.
very
I-
special size.
yeah. Although I thought that little petite Robusto, the one that Barry gave the 102 score to, was really good. I thought it was the best size I've had.
You talking about the really little one?
The one that Dave gave us. I was blown away how good that's. That's the one Barry gave the 102 to.
I thought it was a bigger size.
Let me double check it. I'll pull up the review and see. No, you're right. I'm wrong. You were right. No, yeah. He gave it to the number 3, which is the 6x54. I thought it was the mini one he gave it to.
Jay mentioned no. Mike said Don Carlos Lancero. Those are
Great.
not. Those are great, but they're not regular production, right? Those are.
Special, yeah.
But like I don't think like they're on. I don't even think they allocate them. I think those are like a factory only thing. It's like one of those that you can only
Jay
get
would
from
know
them.
that. I'm gonna default to Jay on that one.
Yeah, Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, but on the Don Carlos Lancero, in fact, most of the outside of Opus, I think the Opus Lanceros go out, but I think like Don Carlos and some of those other ones, I think those are like I don't think those are publicly released. I feel like that's a special release from them. Like you gotta get it from them.
So when I was I think I told you the story off the air, but I'll tell it on the air.
Sure.
When I was with Carlito in the Dominican back in February, we were at a restaurant he likes, and Carlito took cigars because Carlito could smoke in this restaurant, and that's a whole other story.
Oh, I know this story.
Yeah. So, they had some bundles of cigars that they took, out of the factory for us to smoke. And Carlito had a bundle of the Opus X 20th Lancero, which I don't think is something they've released. So Jose goes to Carlito, hey, you got to give Coop one of those Lanceros. And Carlito looks at me and goes, Coop, I love you like a brother. He goes, but I know you don't like Lanceros. And he goes, it would break my heart to see that Lancero half smoked. He's like, he goes, I love you. He goes, I'm not trying to be, you can have whatever you want. He goes, if you want it, he goes, you could just understand it would break my heart. So I said, Carlito, let me smoke it, right? I promise I'll smoke it. It was really good, actually. So I did smoke it down to the end. So
As you should.
Yeah.
Because it's a great cigar.
Yeah, but I understand what Carlito was coming from with that, I respect, I wasn't offended or anything. It was like, okay, it's fair. But he goes, I know you don't like Lanceros.
Well, that's what happens. You create a reputation for yourself, and you almost miss out on good stuff.
Yeah, I mean that happens. It happens.
Don't shoot yourself in the foot.
But it was good. But I gave a Lancero number 1 cigar of the year in 2016. So
Remind me which one that was.
the Crux de Connoisseur, number 2.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And my number 2 cigar of the year was a Lancero that year. That was the Aladino Elegante. So Lanceros have gotten Coop ratings before. They've gotten, I do like them, but I'm particular about my Lanceros.
I don't know why, but this just piqued my memory. I don't want to get deep into this topic. It's kind of specifically to just this one brand, but well, 2, same factory. So cigar of the year, right? We all do our own, but obviously everyone always gets attracted to the aficionado list.
Who?
Yeah, I know. But no, I wanted to ask you this question. My father, I know Le Bijou got it, but did they get multiple, or is that the only one they've gotten?
No, they got number 1 with Florian Santillas in 2012.
That's what it was.
And then they got in 15 with the
Le Bijou.
Le Bijou. They got the wrong sizes, by the way, right, with those, but that's another story. Because I think they picked the Toro and the Florian Santillas, and the Robusto was much better. And then with the they picked the box press Torpedo with Le Bijou, and the Petite Robusto is better. So
now, have you given my father a cigar of the year?
No. I think they've gotten a 5 or a 6 is the highest I've gotten with them.
What about Tatuaje?
They've had a couple of 2s and 3s. They've had some 2s and 3s. I'm going to say this. There's a Tatuaje that's in serious contention for a very high spot this year.
Maybe number 1, or definitely not number 1, but very high.
Shot at number 1.
Shot at number 1.
Shot at number. I'd say it's an outside shot, though.
I think I know which one it is, too.
Yeah. It's an
based
outside
on your
shot.
ratings. It's based on the ratings.
It's based on the ratings, but yeah.
Because I know the cigar and I know the rating, but has it been released yet?
Yes.
Was it the T110
reviewed.
broadleaf?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one. That's seriously. But I'm not kidding. But that cigar has done incredible things.
Do you think now on all the names, right? And this not just aficionado, obviously that's one, but out of all the brands that haven't gotten a number 1, who do you think's the most due?
Rocky.
You think Rockies do?
Rockies do. Rocky would be first. I would say AJ and Ashton are the other 2. But I'm telling you, this year, if you look at the analytics, the Cubans dominated this year in aficionado. Dominated the ratings. It's gonna be very. They had a couple of 95 and 96s this year for Cubans.
Do you think? Do you think this is a Cuban year?
I would say, very possible.
Hmm.
Very possible. I was shocked to see some of the ratings that I saw this year for some of the Cubans.
Jay says Tatuaje is more due than Rocky in his opinion.
I was including Tatuaje in that. I figured that was a follow-on to Tatuaje. Yeah. Yeah. I don't see a Tatuaje that's in contention this year, though, for them.
I don't. Although Rocky, I feel like Rocky had a good shot last year with 60.
Well, 60. I think 60's in play this year for it.
Oh, it's in play for this year.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. 60. It's interesting. It didn't score as well as it would have scored maybe when it first came out. I didn't think it aged well. So Rocky had a big year last year. This year,
it's been quiet this year.
I have a couple of Rocky reviews coming out still. So, which I have. I'm in a heavy review cycle, and the cutoff for the review publication is the end of the month. So they have to come out before the trade show, obviously, but the reviews are until the end of the month. Once the reviews come out at the end of the month, you have to wait till next year.
Oh,
So
actually,
there's
you know
been a
what?
lot.
Which, you know what reminds me? So we've actually made a change to our deadline for Cigar of the Year. We actually pushed it out a little bit more. And we pushed it out to October.
From the trade show.
Yes.
Okay. It's not. So you're not going to have this like this. The thing that irks me about these lists is the cigars released December 1st, and the list comes out December 20th, and it's on the list. Those are the ones that drive me crazy.
So, I was talking with the team, and Mitchell is part of the team now too. He actually just left, but we were talking, and we kind of were looking at it. We're like, I think it would be better to push it out to October. It's later in the year where more stuff can be in contention, but it's still a good spot to cut off where that end of the year stuff still can't just jump in like we've seen.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you on that. I would definitely agree with you on that. At least it's got a couple of months, but hopefully you're re-smoking those things late in the year.
Yeah,
is what I would just.
Yeah, that would be part of it, but because I know I've been on record of saying that, but we've actually decided recently to change that. So it's now going to be like end of October is the cutoff, and then anything after that, no, it's the year after. Yeah. So that's actually going to be our new cutoff date. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that shapes up the list for this year. There's a lot of cigars that we've been starting to look at and put together on our list, and we are creeping towards that time.
Yeah, I mean November is a big month for me when I start really curating the list. So yeah, that's when I start going to a lot of re-smokes and stuff. I could tell you, if you look at the data, there's some big companies that are going to miss the list this year. So,
Who's gonna miss the list this year for you? That's big.
I think Davidoff may miss the list this year.
Anyone
For
else?
sure. AJ, but he didn't have anything new. EP Carroll, I think, is gonna miss it this year.
What about anything from Altadis?
Altus will make it.
Altadis will make it.
Altus has a strong year this year. At least we have 2 strong cigars on the list, I think.
Okay.
So General will probably miss it.
Drew Estate?
No, they'll make it.
They'll make it.
They have something on there, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I did another Undercrown 10 review this year in a different size, and that's eligible.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so they'll make it. The reason why I hesitate is that I may get one more Davidoff smoking before the end of the year. So it's just something to seeing how my smoke schedule goes, because I have to take a couple of days off times to smoke as well. And there's still reviews that are not written. There's like 15 days. So I'm going to see what I always don't want to, plow through a whole bunch of cigars. I have to rest the palate sometimes. So, and then I had the oral surgery, which I did take like 2 weeks off smoking, but I decided not to extend the deadline. I had enough reviews in the queue where I didn't need to do that. So, the good news is you'll make but nothing from like every year I get. Well, you released it after the trade show. We say it every year.
What's the sorry, I was looking to see, did the Yankees win that one? Is it over?
I don't know. Did the much as I don't like paying attention to the Yankees, let's see. No,
Midnight.
It's not. At least I'm no. Cleveland still got a bat at least.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost over. We'll see what happens.
There's something I love though about having late afternoon baseball. And something about like the sun going down and watching that game, and it's just great. I mean, I'm gonna have to take more days if there's day games again in the NLCS. I'm gonna have to take some time. I took some days off this week to watch the games, so I took 2. Well, Fridays I didn't really have to take off, but I took off earlier in the week. So
it gets easier as it goes on. Less games.
But there is something about that 4:00 start I love. I love that starting this time of the year. You get that sun. I mean, I have the bay door open here, and I watch the sun go down, and I have the TV over here, so it's great.
I think that's a good place to call it.
Yep, I think we did a lot tonight.
I think if we don't, I think the comments are just gonna keep getting out of control. So I'm gonna call it there. Is there anything that you wanted to add before we close up shop?
No. Like I said, there's a couple of big reviews coming out this week, so stay tuned. We have a lot more reviews coming out. I have on the show Thursday night Howard Gomes from Howard G Cigars.
Oh, nice.
So I'm pretty excited. We had a ton of fun at that booth this year. So so I'm excited about that. Bear's really high on the Howard G Cigars. So
I've heard a lot of buzz about them.
Yeah, the Cameroon's really good. I'm gonna probably smoke the Cameroon on Thursday night. And then what's the other thing we got coming up? We have a jukebox show Monday night too, so that will air. And that's gonna be on the letter D. Songs that begin with the letter D. Yeah. Yep. So
when is the Prince jukebox out, or is that already out?
It came out last week.
Okay, I gotta watch that still.
Yeah, Matt Ty did a great job on that show, by the way. He really, being a Minnesota guy, but he really knew that album as well. So we were trying to get Garrett, but Garrett was traveling. He had to go to Texas, I believe, last weekend. He was down by Jay's Way. So, yeah, we couldn't get Garrett on, but yeah, we did a breakdown of the Purple Rain album, which is, I grew up. I mean, you weren't even born when that album came out.
No, but I have it.
Yeah, I took a girl to a movie.
I have an original. I have an original copy of that album.
Yeah. I took a girl, not my wife, even to see that movie. Before I met my wife.
To see Purple Rain?
Yeah.
Nicole still hasn't seen it.
I saw. It is. You have to see it. Don't watch the sequel. The sequel was awful. My wife and I did go see the sequel. So my wife and I. Here's a funny story. There's a sequel called Graffiti Bridge, right?
Oh yeah, it was.
And it was bad. But we were on vacation in Los Angeles, and you know the famous Chinese theater. Okay, so they were doing the world premiere of it when we were there. So my wife, she wasn't really into she said, well, let's go. It's like, you want to see this movie. It's the world premiere. And we were it was so bad. I couldn't, I wanted to walk out. It was that bad. They messed up everything. The album was decent, but it wasn't great. But the movie was just, they should have just did another sequel of The Purple Rain. I could have wrote the sequel, and I know I could have did better than that. Yeah.
Interesting.
I would have liked to write the sequel, but yeah.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah, but we were. It's kind of a big deal because we were in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah, October 90 we were there. That came out.
Yeah, that was 3 years before I was born. So if you want to feel old.
Yeah, well, my daughter was born a year before you, so.
Yeah, again, you're just making yourself feel more old. So.
But I am old, so yeah.
It's funny about that goatee. You know, the lip is gray, but the chin is white. So you're at the
totally
white
white. People think I don't have it because of the light. Yeah. I've never had a goatee before ever, so this is like the first time.
It's nice.
Literally, I did it because I was lazy to shave the whole thing in one day, and then, like I said, then I kept it, and then the Phillies did their thing, so I left it.
Well, I think it's a good cause to leave it for. I think you should leave it all the time, but hey, who am I to judge?
Yeah, that won't work. That won't work, but at least for now I can do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, that's going to do it for Spare Notes this week. You can always head over to SmokeTobacco.com for more news and updates from the cigar industry, as well as cigar-coop.com. This Thursday, we have Apostate Cigars joining us on the show, 7 p.m. Eastern, same time, same place as usual. And that's going to do it. So, Coop, thanks for being here with me tonight, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.